is this?
Halt! Mr. Raid's permission is required to proceed any further. That still won't do. Mr. Raid told us to keep people away from the ruins so they don't damage the site.
Damage the site? I've excavated more ruins than you've visited restaurants. Which batch of students is Raid from? I want to see him right now.
He isn't at the campsite now. You should all leave. Only he can give you permission to enter.
What a stubborn guy. You're right. Even if there is new information, we still have to wait for him to come back so we can ask him about it. I'm going to give that Raid a good talking to when he gets back. Starting from who in the world mentored you? Everyone hold him.
What do these people want? I'll let Mr. Raid deal with them.
Rumors really be true? That machine looks amazing! Could it be the legendary Ruin Wanderer? The location seems to fit too. Might that legend actually be true?
So tired. I just want to go home.
The ruins? Don't know anything. We were only hired to deliver water and supplies to them.
Forget excavation. They won't even let us get close to the camp where they're staying.
They won't even let us go near the camp. This area used to be ravaged by frequent sandstorms, but it's been calm lately for some reason. They say that this was done by a single traveler? But seriously, is such a thing even humanly possible?
Well, I found out everything I could. Is there anything that stands out to you? The villagers were hired to deliver supplies, but they haven't been allowed near the campsite. That's definitely odd. However, I'm more concerned about this Ruin Wanderer they speak of. Ruin Wanderer. That's the first time I've heard that name. But that wreckage did seem a bit weird. It's a bit far away, and I can't really say for sure from this distance. Perhaps...
Huh? What are you guys doing back here? I wouldn't blame you for not knowing about it, youngsters. After all, it's a tale that's over a decade old. It's said that this monster, the Ruin Wanderer, traversed through various ruins for centuries. Many adventurers had claimed to see it while exploring. Some said that it was like a giant, while others said that it was like a beast. However, none knew why it wandered the ruins. Then, about 10 years ago, we stopped hearing any news about it in Sumeru. No one has seen it since then, and the legend has since faded into memory. You youngsters probably don't know about the Ruin Wanderer nowadays, but it was famous for centuries.
Centuries? Impossible. I heard nothing about it back then. It could only have been around for a few decades at most.
Wait, back then?
Indulge my curiosity for a moment. Why do you think that wreckage is the Ruin Wanderer?
Well, I had also heard that secondhand from...
You heard that nonsense from the Eremites after they got drunk, right?
Who are you?
Madam Faruzan, it is a pleasure. I'm Raid, the one who organized this archaeological expedition. I'd heard of you at the Academia, but I didn't expect to run into you here. Truly, it is an honor. And this must be the famous traveler, I presume. What brings the two of you here?
Have you found any special contraptions and relics in the ruins that you've been investigating?
I'm ashamed to say that we haven't found anything noteworthy, even though we've been investigating for a while now.
Really? That ruin wanderer isn't noteworthy to you?
I'm afraid those are mere rumors. Really, I sometimes wish that those people would put as much effort into their work as they do into gossiping.
You're right, sir. I'll get back to work now.
The wise do not buy into rumors, so it is said. I believe that you too, Madam Faruzan, do not put any stock into such baseless talk.
It is also said that real knowledge shall come from practice. I can help you research the excavated relics and see if I can find out anything new about them. You can take credit for any new discoveries. I believe this offer to be sufficiently attractive.
In truth, I could ask for nothing better than your help with our research. However, you two must be tired after a long journey. I'd feel bad if I set you to work immediately. It's getting late and my subordinates and I are heading back to the camp to rest. Why don't you find a place to spend the night first? We can continue our discussion tomorrow. There's a tent that the villagers occasionally use to rest. It's a bit simple, yes, but I hope you won't mind.
Since you need to rest as well, let's do just that. Wait!
Why now, of all times?
This is quite far away. Are they trying to prevent the villagers from eavesdropping on them? This suits us just fine, though. This way, they won't overhear our conversations either. Now, I have my suspicions about this archaeological expedition team and that machine wreckage. I own, but based on the condition of the armor and joints, it didn't seem like something that had been lying around for centuries. At most, I'd estimate that it only stopped moving about a dozen years ago. Yes, the timing coincides with the spreading of the legend. Now, assuming that it really is the Ruin Wanderer, how do you suppose it was able to maintain a relatively good condition despite high-intensity operation over the course of several decades? That's right. Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before. Well, this was over 100 years ago. It was a machine about the same size as Carcata, actually. It couldn't carry heavy objects or fight, and was only able to help me record some notes. It also helped me deliver letters home. I found it near the desert, which is why I wondered if there might be more restitution modules buried around here. Honestly, people in ancient times might have already solved the problem of providing enough power for all I know. I'll need to research this properly. Had I confronted Raid right there and then, he would have said that he couldn't tell that the machine was special. Then he'd just hand it over to the Academia obediently, and he'd get away scot-free. If the wreckage were to be handed to the Academia, it'd be much tougher for us to do research on it or get spare parts for Carcata. Anyway, we should figure out what they're planning before making our next move. They insisted that we should stay the night, which means if they're trying to pull a fast one on us, they're likely to try tonight. Are those sounds coming from the excavation site? I knew they wouldn't be able to wait. They must be scared that we might discover something tomorrow. Not a single person guarding the campsite. This must be quite the manpower expenditure. I'll see if they left any clues behind at their camp. Keep watch and help me stall them if it comes to that, would you? All right. I'm counting on you.
Why isn't the tent here yet? We need to switch it out tonight.
It's still on the way. I'm afraid this is the first time we're delivering such a huge one.
You good-for-nothings are just a load of trouble, aren't you? We wouldn't have to deal with these interlopers if you had kept those lips of yours from flapping. Hurry up and hide our current tent and deliver the new one to me tonight, no matter what it takes.
Huh? Who's there?
I'm sorry. I'm just a bit upset because my subordinates aren't doing their jobs properly. When did you get here? It's nothing. Just a tent. We didn't pack up all our tents from the last campsite. Some of them, along with a few people, have been left there. Someone damaged our current tent, so I'm trying to get my subordinates to get one from that previous campsite delivered here. The relics in the ruins are highly valuable, so I'm worried that treasure hoarders and bandits might try to steal them. Since the tent isn't here yet and I can't fall asleep, I came here to patrol. Well, these things are antiques after all. There will always be people interested in buying them. I hired so many people precisely because I was worried about that happening. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask, is the Academia really aware that you've traversed through the desert to come here in the middle of the night? Also, where's Faruzan? Why isn't she with you?
I'm right here. Also, you forgot to address me as Madam.
Sorry, Madam Faruzan.
You were all making so much noise that I couldn't sleep, which is why I got the Traveler to find out what was going on. But for some reason, that one task took forever, so I came to check in on the situation.
I'm very sorry for disturbing your rest. I'll tell my subordinates to be quieter on patrol.
Good. Come on, Traveler. Let's head back. Yes, we came to check out the situation, didn't we? Well, we've already done that. We should get better rest so that we'll have energy to investigate tomorrow. Go! Thanks for dealing with them. Now, I found something good on my end. These are the excavation records from their campsite. According to them, the ruins have been raided before, with numerous traps and contraptions having already been triggered. I also observed the wreckage up close earlier. The weathering is nowhere near as extensive as on the relics that have been buried for over 100 years. There's no doubt that the wreckage in the ruins don't belong to the same era. Instead, it must have wandered into the ruins about a dozen years ago. It could have fallen into a trap or encountered a glitch within the ruins, remaining stationary like that until it was discovered recently. However, I still don't know why they'd want to hide it. I have no doubt that the researcher could definitely reach the same conclusion I did. The last few pages of the excavation records are written in code, which I still need time to decipher. It's just wordplay. And if anything, that's my wheelhouse. Just a bit more. I see now.
Help! Please help!
Why are you running away? Come back! Protect me!
What's that sound? The Ruin Wanderer? Reactivated? That's impossible! Is this the work of some kind of hidden mechanism? Never mind. We have to focus on saving lives first. I'll cover them. You go stall the Ruin Wanderer. The Traveler?
Why is it chasing after us?
What could have caused it to reactivate? And to give chase?
Darn it! Hey, come on, you lot! It's clear that we can't escape, so let's just attack it!
It stopped?
Hey, you guys, get up there and tell me what's going on!
But what if it suddenly moves?
You good-for-nothings! Why is everyone I hired so useless? Move! I'll do it myself. Looks like this thing's parts can't handle the load of functioning anymore after years of disrepair. When it first reactivated, I was wondering if it'd be as amazing as the legends had pegged it to be. I didn't expect it to be so much weaker than it looks. How disappointing.
Disappointing, you say? Now, is that because you won't be able to sell it for much?
Faruzan, you may be my senior as an academia researcher, but that doesn't mean you get to slander me.
You wrote these excavation records, did you not? Or perhaps calling it a ledger might jog your memory a bit better.
I don't recognize that thing.
January 3rd, excavated 5 tents. January 5th, 3 tents sold. January 10th, 1 special tent pre-sold. It must quickly be switched out with an old tent. You're supposed to be an archaeological expedition team, and yet here you are, secretly selling the relics and profiting from it. When you believed that you had found the wreckage of the Ruin Wanderer, you tried to switch in wreckage that you had excavated previously to pull the wool over the Academia's eyes. After all, there would probably be many wealthy buyers interested in purchasing the legendary Ruin Wanderer in the black market, yes? And then we arrived just before you could finish your work. That forced you to speed up your plan, and you tried to complete the switch overnight before I could investigate the wreckage. In your haste, however, you accidentally activated the Ruin Wanderer instead.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You lack the curiosity befitting a man of knowledge, nor do you have respect for mechanical life forms. You're not fit to be a researcher.
Ridiculous. Curiosity? Respect? I'm not here to hear you preach. Hey, we're leaving.
Mr. Aid!
Behind you?
Ah!
Why is it moving again? Run!
Some said that it was like a giant, while others said that it was like a beast. However, none knew why it wandered the ruins.
Technically speaking, the module shouldn't be able to move such a large machine chassis. However, I'm basing my knowledge on the mechanical life forms I've seen before. Centuries? Impossible. I heard nothing about it back then. It could only have been around for a few decades at most.
Why is it chasing after us?
So you've been looking for me this whole time? Long time no see, Tamimi. I see everything.
Dear Faruzan, I hope you're doing well. It has been over 20 years since you went missing. People from the academia keep telling us to give up and that you're most likely dead. But somehow, I feel like you're still alive. Yes, that you live still in some corner of this world. You've always been persistent, able to shine no matter what situation you face. I believe that this persistence serves you well in surviving and finding your way home. Unfortunately, I likely won't be able to welcome you home when you do. I don't have much time left, and my reflexes have slowed. Others keep telling me to stop exploring ruins. Only Tamimi is still the same as before, always running off to places which you've been to. Your teacher and friends came up with an idea to remodel Tamimi so it can search for you in our place. You didn't like coming home back then and would always get Tamimi to send a letter back. Now we're leaving a letter with Tamimi. I wonder if it'll ever be delivered to you. I don't know the answer to that question, but if you ever read this letter, I hope it'll be when you've already found your way home. I regret not being able to say this to you myself, but I'll still feel sincerely happy for you, my dear daughter.
Welcome home, Faruzan. Look at you, Tamimi. You've changed so much after all these years. Thank you for I've safely received the letters. Your work is done now. Tamimi, the mechanical life form I encountered back then. When I would go on expeditions, it would follow me, take notes for me, and send my letters home. When I met with that accident, it was on the way to deliver a letter for me. I once thought that I'd never get to see it again. I didn't expect my teacher and others to remodel its self-repair function, upgrading it to self-learning. And so, in order to plumb the depths of unknown ruins and overcome dangerous traps, it repaired and modified itself using parts it found along the way. 1 decade of wandering became many, and soon... Tamimi, which used to be incapable of even moving heavy objects, became the Ruin Wanderer. All so it could deliver these last letters from them to me. The strain to support such a huge body must have turned out to be too much for your heart, right? Even after the remodeling, its restitution module still can't function perfectly in perpetuity. It has been just like a living being. Mechanical life forms have a limited lifespan. It probably became trapped in the ruins all those years ago because its shelf life had run out. It most likely only reactivated because it detected my presence. And then it mustered up everything it had to deliver that last letter. Now, it can finally rest in peace. Tainari told you what happened to me, right? You don't have to apologize. It's not like this incident is a secret in the academia. Besides, I've always treated it as a failed experiment. As a researcher, I must accept this result. However, finding out that so many people were affected by my failure does make me feel somewhat conflicted. Can you head back to PARTE first? We've been here for a while, and it's best not to make Kale and the rest worry. As for me, I want to stay with Tamimi for a bit longer.
How was your journey through the desert? Wait, where's Madame Faruzan? So Madame Faruzan has some other things to settle. Alright. And to think that Raid was doing all of those things on the sly. It's good that you all got out of that situation in one piece.
Madame Faruzan will be able to repair Carcado when she gets back, won't she?
Surely everyone knows quantity cannot make up for quality.
This guy just keeps going on and on. Why does he have to be so curious?
I'm back! What? Is there to be no welcoming party?
Madame Faruzan, we're over here!
That's more like it. Now, here are some components I brought back from the desert. Switch these out with the ones Carcata is using right now, and it'll be back in ship shape.
So this is a relic of an ancient civilization? Unbelievable. Thankfully, it didn't end up in Raid's unscrupulous hands.
Unscrupulous, huh? Sounds like you already told them what happened. Is that so? Thank you. We will talk about everything else later. It's nothing. I've already given all the evidence we have against Raid to the Academia. They're going to be very busy. Too busy to bother us, I'd wager. I'll start repairing Carcata then. Kale, can you help me out?
Of course!
Hey!
Will I be able to take Carcata with me on patrol duty in the future?
Madame Faruzan seems to have a lot on her mind. Now's probably not the time to pry.
It looks fine, but even so, it needs to properly rest up. It looks fine, but even so. see everything.
My original projections.
Ah, you're here. Thank you for keeping Tamimi a secret. If I tell them about Tamimi, will they still feel happy for Karkata? Even if we could convince them to accept the components, they'll probably still feel bad about it. I don't want my past to affect people in the present. That applies to both me and other people. It's fine. I'm used to this. I once believed that I'd never hear from my old friends and family ever again. However, I could remember them clearly again after reading the letter Tamimi handed to me and learning that they'd never given up on me. I'd be disappointing them if I let myself fall into a slump because of this. Neither my teacher nor my mother would have wanted to see me like that. Besides, you're lending a listening ear to me now, aren't you? Oh, Pardeus DI looks pretty scenic at night. Will you take a stroll with me? Once Karkata's condition stabilizes, I'll find a chance to tell Tainari and Kale about all that. But for now, just help me keep this secret. Thank you. Whether it's 100 years ago or now, I have people who worry about me. I suppose I should consider myself quite fortunate. The only time when I felt otherwise was when I had just returned to Sumeru. No one came to check up on me then. Yeah, I'm home. Huh? You're back!
How was your journey through the
Oh no. She finally got to reunite with an old friend from 100 years ago.
As a researcher, she could perhaps accept it. However, as a friend, a student, and a daughter, we should give her some time. Let's just wait for her here. And in the future, I hope that we can be here to support her as her new friends.
I'm back! What? Is there to be no welcoming party?
We've all been waiting for you, Madame Faruzan.
That's more like it. Now, here are some components I brought back from the desert. Switch these out with the ones Karkata is using right now. and it'll be back in ship shape. Huh? Why do you all look so solemn? Come now. Liveliness befits youngsters more.
Madam Faruzan, did these parts come from...
Come now. I thought that you must have encountered some major problem. This isn't something you have to worry about. Well, it looks like you already know everything, but no need to feel bad. Like I said before, as researchers, we must learn to accept our failures. Tamimi had been operating beyond capacity for a century, and I'm unable to repair it with my current abilities. Not even with these parts. It would thus be much better to use them to extend Karkata's lifespan. As a senior, it is only right that I do something for the people who come after me. That holds true for both researchers and machines. Besides, I didn't say that I would be giving you these parts for free. They will only be used for Karkata temporarily. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to help me with my research. I'll be sure to revive Tamimi once I've fully deciphered and replicated the creations of the ancient civilization.
Alright, I'll do my best to help.
Me too. Although, I'm not sure if I'll be much help.
Thank you. If they could remodel Tamimi successfully even back then, there's no reason why we won't be able to do even better. And when that day comes, I'll be sure to say, welcome home, Tamimi. Something on your mind again?
What now? Master said there's no life feel for Mac, but if I get her in trouble with the Yeah, that would be the best for the— But I'm sure he'll say, the best thing you can— Huh? Oh, yes! So, if I also stay and help? Okay, then. I'm counting on you.
Huh. I have to teach students from Haravatat, or owe Kasharawar a favor.
I think I can sympathize with them.
We're back, Madam Faruzan. The Traveler said that he can stay and help you.
Oh! Why, I couldn't ask for more. In fact, I'm rather curious about the type of person the Traveler is. Is that so? Good. It does so happen that I do have some— Now, should I apply to teach a course with Haravatat, or join the collaborative project that Kasharawar is— I don't know if Tainari's told you about this before, but while my research involves learning about ruins and the mechanisms within them, I don't belong to Kasharawar, which specializes in researching mechanisms. nor am I in Spontamod, which specializes in researching energy flow. Instead, I'm part of Haravatat, which specializes in languages and scripts.
She has been invited to Ksharawar multiple times to continue her research, but she's rejected them each time.
Just listen to how they introduce themselves. In the future, Ksharawar will be the only Darshan with the ability to research mechanisms. There's no such thing as exclusivity in knowledge. Besides, the current Ksharawar is more concerned about how mechanisms can be used in everyday life, while my research involves textual analysis of ruins. If they're trying to use the collaborative project as an excuse to have me reconsider again...
No, that's not it. The request this time is from Akara Crafts. The representative of Ksharawar recommended you to them, Madame Faruzan. In truth, she told me that it's because she respects you a lot.
Oh, respect? Putting aside my ideological differences with Ksharawar, I suppose I must acknowledge this attitude of theirs. At the very least, they're bounds above those decrepit Haravatat fools.
Yeah, Akara Crafts is a pretty nice shop.
Well, since both of you feel as such, I shall first hear this proposal.
In summary, Akara Crafts wants to design a series of early learning toys that will cultivate curiosity and learning in children.
Early learning toys.
The academia agreed to work with them because they hope that these toys can help children become excellent researchers in the future.
True. The current academia is in need of some new blood. If the children start learning now, perhaps I can find some talented students in a few years.
Madame Faruzan, you still haven't found any students?
Anise, Ksharowar's representative, should be staying in the inn at Port Ormos. If you want more details, you can find her there.
Port Ormos? Now there's a place I haven't been to in a long time. I wonder how much it's changed.
I probably can't join you since Port Ormos is a little far from here. I should probably go back and report to Master, and then review today's homework.
No worries. Go do your homework, Kale. Once I'm done with everything here, I'll head over to PARTE. Thank you. Why, I'd even call this a rare chance for a curious researcher like myself to observe the legendary traveler up close.
Everyone will...
How did I end up getting myself into this?
If you're not sure what to do next, how about I take you on a walk?
Madame Faruzan! Oh, it's really you. Did you change your mind?
All right, calm down. Let me be clear. I'm still not all that interested in Ksharawar. I'm just here to see how the project is going. After all, you're here as representatives of the academia in this collaboration. The reputation of all research is at stake here, so I will not simply stand by should mistakes get made.
Either way, it's good that you were willing to come. Now, we've given Ahora Crafts many ideas over the past couple of days. However, their owner thinks that our designs are too complicated, which will drive production costs too far up.
That's expected. Students who have never had to deal with budgetary constraints probably don't understand how important it is to keep costs low. How enviable. Oh,
If you join the Ksharawar, your budget will be as big as you want it to be. I guarantee it.
That's enough. I will not repeat myself. Take me to Ahora Crafts owner first, if you please.
All right. He's usually at the slope up ahead recruiting volunteers to test out his toys. Let's just head over.
Thank you for choosing to stay with us. If you require any assistance, please let me know.
History is sometimes even more exciting than
Maybe I should get some earplugs.
Mamdu, the one I recommended is here.
Oh, so you're, Madame Faruzan?
Yes, that's me.
Oh, wonderful. We haven't been able to make any progress on our collaboration recently. We've made many suggestions, but Miss Anis thought that those ideas were too simple and wouldn't be effective in training the mind.
These early learning toys are meant to help the academia train future researchers, after all. If they're too simple, then how are they any different from regular toys?
But if they're too complicated, not only will they be expensive to produce considering our production capabilities, but they won't have much broad appeal to Sumeru's children either.
So the design can't be too complicated, but it can't be too easy to play with either.
I remember that in your notes. Many contraptions have managed to fulfill complex functions despite using simple parts. Maybe we can do something similar with these early learning toys.
The contraptions in my notes? I didn't create those. I simply took the contraptions in the ruins apart and analyzed them. But now that you mention it, the ruins did have things like that. Do you have a pen, paper, and scissors? I'll make a paper prototype.
You have an idea already? I suppose I should have expected as much of a respected academia senior researcher. We do have those, yes. Oh, you're done already?
Let me explain. These 3 thick lines represent 3 poles. These paper strips of varying lengths represent rings of different sizes. They can be slotted onto the poles and stacked up like a tower.
Well, that is easier to make than I expected. So, how is this game played?
That's very simple as well. You just need to shift the tower from this pole to another pole.
Isn't this a little too simple? Even by the standards of an early learning toy, I mean.
Of course, when moving each ring, the paper strips in this case, you must follow one rule. You can only move one ring at a time, and you can't place a bigger ring on top of a smaller one. It's like building a tower. The rings in the 3 poles must be stacked from big to small. I named this toy Pagoda Stack.
Pagoda Stack.
That sounds way too simple. Even I feel like it's missing something.
Give it a try and you'll find out if it's simple or not. I heard from Anise that you find volunteers to try out the toys, right? Why don't we do the same for this game?
It's such a simple toy. There's no need to...
Mamdu, let's just do as she says.
Okay, then.
And that's how you play this game. You can all give it a try. Let's see who's able to move the tower to another pole in the smallest number of steps.
You called everyone here for such a simple toy?
It doesn't look like it'll take that many steps.
Come on, we all promised to help Mr. Mamdu test out the new toys. He said he'd give us new Genius Invocation TCG cards.
Ugh, fine. Let's get this over and done with so we can head back and play cards.
Done! It took me 19 steps.
Huh? It took me over 20 steps.
I only needed 18 steps.
Not bad. Looks like you're all familiar with the rules now. Then let's increase the difficulty. The next tower will be 5 layers tall. Now then, give it a shot.
Wait, there's more?
Well, since we're already here, why don't we just give it a try?
An extra layer shouldn't make it that much harder, right?
What's going on? I've already moved over 30 steps, but I'm still not done yet.
I'm almost done. Looks like I'm the faster one this time.
Done! It took me 35 steps.
What? How?
This pagoda stack toy is pretty fun to play with.
Good. We'll try it one final time. This time, we'll add 2 more layers, making 7 layers in total. Mamdu, we've still got quite a few paper strips here. Why don't you give this a go as well?
Do you need that many steps for something this simple? Let me try.
Madam Faruzan, allow me to try it as well.
You were looking at it quite seriously just now. Are you starting to understand the principles involved?
I think so.
If you want to test out your hypothesis, you'll just have to play and find out.
Got it.
We don't have enough paper strips left for you, Traveler. However, by the looks of things, you seem to have the game figured out. Why don't you guess what the lowest number of steps needed to solve a 7-layer pagoda stack is? What a shame. You were close. However, you did well for someone seeing Pagoda Stack for the first time. Let's see how well they do then.
If I move this small ring, then the big one won't be able to go on top of it. Oh, this is going to take more steps than I expected.
I've lost count of how many steps I've taken. Can I restart?
This got a lot harder. I solved it! Madame Faruzan, it takes 127 steps in total.
That many? But there are only 7 layers.
For every extra layer in the pagoda stack, the move order you need to consider becomes much more complex, and the number of steps required will at least double.
More accurately, it will require double the steps, plus 1 each time. You did well. You didn't underestimate the principles behind it just because it's an early learning toy. The complexity of any given contraption isn't determined by the number of parts it has. The way the parts interact and the rules behind how it operates are important too.
Oh, I see. No wonder you emphasized in your notes that no contraption should ever be underestimated.
I see. So even a simple toy can become complex with the right set of rules.
That's right. The rules used for Pagoda Stack are the simplest kind when it comes to ancient contraption-making techniques. I could spend some time picking out all those machines that do something similar and write you a reference book. Once that happens, you can give the volunteers the reference book and paper prototypes and find out which toy—
Do you have any other toys?
Yeah! When can we play with them?
In about 2 days or so, I think. Anise, if you're free, can you help me with the illustrations for the reference book?
Of course! I'd be honored.
2 days should be enough for us to find more volunteers. Then we can organize a huge conference here, at which we can announce which toy we'll be making. You'd be most welcome. We need more people to get a healthy range of opinions. The more, the merrier.
Thank you for coming here with me today. I'll walk back with you.
Oh, surely the kids will like this one.
Hey! This new game's not bad, but Genius Invocation TCG is better.
This new game is even more fun than Genius Invocation TCG.
Hey! This new game's fun, like Genius Invocation TCG.
Yeah! I'll be going then. Say hi to Tainari and Kale for me if you can. Once everything here is settled, I'll make my way over to PARTE as quickly as I can. You want to ask why I'm unwilling to join them, yes? Putting aside the fact that they're too full of themselves, I actually have no issue with their research methodologies and approach. After all, knowledge is either right or wrong. Superiority and inferiority do not come into the conversation. All researchers are just doing their best to shed light on the unknown in their respective fields of expertise. No matter what corner of the unknown they shed light on, it's a step forward for us all. Because I believe wholeheartedly in that principle. Even if the others call my research useless, as long as the knowledge I gain from it is accurate, it could become useful in the future. In the end, useful and useless are concepts that shouldn't be used to evaluate knowledge. When I first started deciphering ancient documents, I didn't think about how it'd be useful to Ksharawar. That's why there's no need for me to join them to do useful research. I'd rather stay in Haravatat. It's much more convenient for me to access the materials I need for my research here. Still, the funding that Ksharawar has offered me is so hard to get in Haravatat. Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I can even ignore Haravatat and ask for a higher budget directly from the academia. Oh, I could come up with lots of ideas. With Anissa's help, 2 days will be enough for our work. However, I'm still undecided as to the style of the reference book's text and illustrations. You're right. Explanations are a core part of early developments, too. By using detailed and accurate illustrations, we can impart knowledge more effectively. It would also make it easier for me to recruit students. Thank you. I'll take your opinion into account. See you in 2 days.
I really want to yell out at the sea at the top of my lungs. Would people look at me funny for that? The seas are calm and the sky is...
Go!
I see everything. Everyone hold hands.
Book learning alone is not enough to cultivate intelligence. All those scholars in the academia are prime examples. Wait. Huh? No. Whatever. The scribe's work is simple, which is exactly why I took the position. Wait. Wait. Huh? No. Whatever. There have been many poorly written applications lately. I guess I'll just have to reject them all.
Oh, you're here. We're just starting to set up the venue.
We've called up everyone we possibly could have. This is going to be quite the event.
My masterpiece is going to be exhibited after all. Let's see what the academia shall say about it this time. To sum up, the 24 forms of pressure-based puzzle mechanisms were used in various ruins. All right, let's go to the next page. Now, I'll explain the base layer design of elemental monuments.
Are we done yet? Oh, I'm falling asleep.
I don't understand any of it at all.
Are these really toys?
They sound a bit too dangerous to buy for children.
Oh.
Well, we've prepared paper prototypes for everyone. If you're interested in the mechanisms Madame Faruzan's talked about, you're more than welcome to try them out.
Oh, this is no fun. Can I try another toy?
I want to go home and play Genius Invocation TCG.
Forget it. I don't think anyone would be interested.
I should go home and take care of my children.
How did this happen? Forget about getting opinions from others.
No. I'm sorry. I think we miscalculated.
No, you simply gave suggestions. I was the one who decided to follow through. And I will find a way to make up for this error. Please, give me some time. All right.
Excuse me, but are you the one who wrote this reference book?
Yes. Who are you?
Ah, you're that man mountain who was in the crowd just now.
Do I stand out that much? Well, I guess I don't look like someone who'd have anything to do with toys. Let me introduce myself. I'm Kamal, the branch master of Sumeru's Adventurers Guild.
What's the branch master doing here? Were you looking for us, or did something happen?
I came to Port Ormos to visit some old friends. On the way over, I saw the booklet you were handing out, so I came to take a look. Can you print a few more copies of this booklet and sell them to the Adventurers Guild? Also, could you make full-fledged models of those paper prototypes and sell them to us as well?
What does the Adventurers Guild want with these toys?
You may see them as toys, but to adventurers who need to deal with all sorts of machines and contraptions within ancient ruins, this booklet is a true treasure. We have many members who can't read, so books are of little use to them. What they know of handling mechanisms has been learned solely through word of mouth. Even if the academia granted public access to all their books, there are people who can't use them.
Ah, and our booklet is practically all pictures.
Well, it is designed for children.
It might be a bit too difficult for children, but it's perfect for adventurers. Also, those paper strips, you called them paper prototypes? If you can make wooden versions for demonstration purposes, even the most illiterate person would be able to follow along and understand. If we can supply a model set for each branch, and if each adventurer carries a booklet with them, then ruin exploration will become much safer.
You really think so? I mean, yes. I always knew it. Knowledge will always be needed, one way or another.
Making models of contraptions for the Adventurers Guild? To be honest, that sounds like a good avenue to explore to me.
We'll probably have to send in a separate application, but it shouldn't be an issue. After all, this concerns safety during the exploration of ruins. It's a problem that the academia is actually trying to address as well.
Then let's cut to the chase and discuss the details of our first order. The amount we're offering to pay in advance is this much.
be going then. Say hi to Tainari and Kale for me if you can. Once everything here is settled, I'll make my way over to Pardistii as quickly as I can. A niece? We haven't had much time to get to know each other, but she seems like a good kid. She's able to calmly figure out the basic principles behind something without being influenced by others. I'll do my best to teach her over the next few days. Still, how much she learns will really depend on her. Well, her interest lies in the application of mechanisms. I do have some old knowledge to share, but if we think about the future, it's easier for her to learn the things she's interested in if she stays in Ksharawar. My research into mechanisms is, in a sense, a side effect of my research into ancient texts. If she becomes my student to learn how to make modern contraptions, it wouldn't benefit either of us in the long run. However, if she develops an interest in deciphering ancient texts over these next 2 days, that would change things. If I successfully poach a student, those young punks at Haravatat will have one less reason to cut my budget. Perhaps if this collaborative project goes smoothly, I can even ignore Haravatat and ask for a higher budget directly from the academia. Oh, I could come up with lots of ideas. With Anissa's help, 2 days will be enough for our work. You're right. If no one understands the reference book, it doesn't matter how detailed it is. It's better to make it simpler and fun so that children will be interested in the subject. It'll also make it easier for me to recruit students in the long run. Thank you. I'll take your opinion into account. See you in 2 days.
The seas are calm.
Book learning alone is not enough to cultivate intelligence. All those scholars in the academia are prime examples.
Oh, you're here. We're just starting to set up the venue.
We've called up everyone we possibly could have. This is going to be quite the event.
My masterpiece is going to be exhibited after all. Let's see. And if we activate this little mechanism just like that, a Sumeru rose will appear at the top of the cane.
Oh, I see. I thought it came out of thin air. It's amazing.
If the mechanism was bigger, you could make a rabbit appear, right?
Then you can't use a cane. Could you switch it out with a hat or something?
You're applying what you learned creatively. Not bad. Let's look at the next page. If you fold an origami bird like this, it'll fly further and more stably.
Whoa. You can make a mechanism using just a piece of paper?
The principles at play are even more important than the parts that make up a mechanism.
These are pretty cool. I'm tempted to try them out.
I'm not that interested in toys, but if they'll be beneficial for children's development...
Everyone, we have paper prototypes and craft materials that you can use to make your own toys. Come try them out.
This is such a well-prepared event. I'll give it a go.
But we want to play too!
It's fine. We have a lot of paper prototypes and craft materials. All feedback is also welcomed.
Oh! My origami bird flew further this time!
Professor Faruzan? How can I make mine fly further?
Ahem. Just Madam will do. Maybe in the future, you may indeed get the chance to call me Professor. You may wish to pay attention to these few details. Here, for example.
Wow! It really did fly farther!
Madam Faruzan, will we learn origami at the Academia?
Of course you will. If you become a researcher, you can explore any field you like to your heart's content. In the future, if you want, you can even become one of my students.
But Mom and Dad said that there are 6 Darshans in the Academia. Wait, was it 7? Which Darshan teaches about mechanisms in origami?
Well, in this case, it wouldn't be Haravatat.
I know. We need to choose Kasharawar.
Huh?
I want to attend Kasharawar in the future and fold even better origami birds.
I want to make even more awesome mechanisms!
Actually, the other Darshans do have their own specialties, too. For example, Haravatat specializes in... How did this happen?
What if we end up in a Darshan we don't like? Does that mean that we won't get to learn about the things we do like?
No, that won't happen. Take me, for example. I'm a researcher from Haravatat, but I research mechanisms. See, the only person able to restrict your curiosity as a researcher is you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not really.
Huh. It's all right. You still have a long road ahead of you. Now, do you want to learn about some other machines? Let me tell you a story about pressure-based mechanisms and elemental monuments.
Going out on a rainy day is the worst. It's just a natural phenomenon, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Unless you're beneath a tree.
Allow me. When the sun's out, bathe in sunlight. But when the moon's out, bathe in moonlight. Huh? Toodaloo.
That's not being honest, that's just plain stupid.
Huh? Phew!
Welcome to Second Life. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Real tiger fish. What should I try this time?
Huh?
Hey, who's that skulking around?
Ad Astra Abyssosk. Welcome to the Adventurers Guild.
Thank you for completing today's commissions. Here is your reward.
Let me tell you how it is. A toast to our success.